is shifting. Should you be worried? The biggest problem with selling your house today is the fact that for the past 2 years, you've been told how easy it is to sell your house. You could basically do nothing to your house, stick a sign in the front yard, and have 30 offers flung at you that are all overpriced and completely crazy, which is skewing your expectations because that is simply not the case today. The market is shifted. Do not stay stuck in what was happening a year ago, let alone even 90 days ago, because in the last 90 days, we have seen the market start to flip. In this video, I'm going to break down kind of what's happening and what's going on in the macro, and then we're gonna break it down and see what's happening in the micro. So if you are somebody who is looking to buy or sell real estate in Utah and you want to get an update on what the Utah housing market is doing, then make sure you stick around and watch this video. The specific area that I specifically serve is the Park City area. So towards the end of this video, I'm really gonna be breaking down what's happening in the Park City area on a micro level. So the first question we need to answer is, why is the market cooling? And the first reason is that the feds have raised the interest rate. They've raised the interest rate to 5%. Buyers are looking at that going, oh, for the last 2 years, there was only like 2.3, 2.5% interest rate, and now it's 5. I don't like 5. So they're a little bit in sticker shock yet. They haven't quite adapted to the new normal. But one question that I can ask you is that if you were to lock in a rate at 5%, you would be so happy, because what if rates go to 8%? Then you're gonna be really happy that you had a 5% interest rate. And if rates go back down to 3, then you refinance. 5% is still historically good interest rate when you look at historical data. There were times in this life when interest rates were like 16 and 18%. I don't even think I was born yet. You can find that on historical charts and historical data. So suddenly, 5% isn't looking so bad. Second thing we need to look at is that more inventory is hitting the market. So as a seller, you've got more competition. Even though inventory is historically low, if we go back and we look at the data, we are historically very low. Even though in the past 90 days, I think in the past month of May, we had about 214 new listings hit the market, which feels like a ton of listings. However, now buyers have more options than they ever had, but now they're turned off because, oh, we've got 5% interest rates. So unless you're buying cash, 5% doesn't look so good right now. Buyers are really just taking a pause. Instead of your home selling in 4 hours, it might take 4 weeks for it to sell, as long as it's priced right, in good shape, in good condition, has a style that is desirable, in a good location, it's been updated, and it's been well maintained. If it doesn't have those things, it's likely that you will need to lower the price, or your house is gonna sit on the market a little bit longer. The third thing is that people are really worried about the economy. We all have heard the news. A recession is coming. I believe a recession is coming, but it's not gonna be the same type of recession as the 2008 housing bubble. I think we really need to educate ourselves and stop saying housing crash, housing collapse, housing bubble, and really go look at the data. What does a housing bubble actually mean? So people that have money in the stock market, retirement accounts, people that once had $1 million, $2 million in their 401k, they now only have 800k. And they're really taking a step back. What's the market gonna do? What's the stock market gonna do? What's gonna happen to the economy? Biggest question on your mind, is it still a good time to sell your house? What I think you need to ask yourself is it the right season of life for you? What is the reason you're selling? Are you selling just to make a killing and flip this house? That's probably the wrong reasons for selling. And if that was the case, you missed the peak of the market. You can't just list your house for 500k more than your neighbor did that closed next door to you 2 days ago. That is not happening anymore. What is the reason that you need to sell? Moving, need more space? Do you need less space? Are you an empty nester? Are you buying a vacation property? Did you get a raise? Are you having a baby? Do you need 2 offices? Would you like a home gym? Do you need a bigger garage? Do you want to be closer to town, to be closer to your kids' schools? Relocating. Are you sick of shoveling snow and you want to move to a tropical warm weather place? All reasons why we buy residential real estate. Don't go, oh my gosh, the market has dropped so much, I'm gonna go buy 10 homes. Nobody does that. Maybe commercial real estate, Maybe you do that in the stock market, but you don't necessarily do that in residential real estate. You buy residential real estate because you have a need. You want to enjoy it. You want your family to enjoy it. What season of life are you in, and what are your family's needs? Time you sell your house, you need to remember equity in it, because what you paid for it is probably not the same price that you are selling it for. So you have just made money on it. You make money on real estate at the price that you buy the real estate at, not what you sell it at. You never want to be caught selling your home for less than you paid for. It means you're in trouble. As long as you're not doing that, it's a good time to sell, as long as it's the right season of life for you. The thing to remember is that your life circumstances will never perfectly align with what is happening in the market. The market shifts and changes. All the market does is drive obstacles. It just reveals obstacles, and it impacts how we have to move through the market. The past 2 years, the housing market was absolutely insane. Wars, no inventory, crazy low interest rates, and now we're shifting to a new market. We have new obstacles. You can't just throw your house on the market without doing any work to it, and you can't just overprice your house because a friend did that to their house 6 months ago when they sold. You can't do that anymore. You missed your time to do that. I like to remind people that when you sell high, you're also buying high. So everybody that sold in the market in the last 2 years sold at an extremely high price, but they also had to buy at an extremely high price unless they left and went to a different market. The next question that you're probably asking yourself is it a good time to buy? And you need to ask yourself the same question. Is it the right season of life for you? And what are your family's needs? What are your reasons for buying? If you're planning on staying in a property for more than 5 years, it's probably a great time to buy. Last time I checked, appreciation in real estate was pretty fantastic. So the sooner that you can buy, the faster that your home will appreciate, the more equity that you'll have in it, and you'll be paying less 5 years from now. Real estate is a long game. So can you become a genius at playing the long game? The next thing to remember is that real estate is local. All markets are local. So what is happening in Park City, Utah is not necessarily happening in Florida or California or New York or Oregon. All real estate markets are local. And Park City has a very segmented real estate market. We are very hyper local. Every neighborhood is different. Lower Deer Valley is very different than Upper Deer Valley. Promontory is very different than Summit Park. We have micro markets within our market. When you're looking at buying or selling, you really need to be up to date on what is happening in your neighborhood, looking at that median sales price, and then saying, okay, if my home is priced over the median sales price, how long will it actually take for my house to sell? And if I'm priced under, it'll probably sell much more quickly. If you're a seller, it's really important not to look at your Zestimate and not to trust your Zestimate. This is a very cautionary tale about Zestimates. Zestimates go off of public records, which means everything that they show and display is all based off of county records. Those things can be very inaccurate because the last time I checked, people are not running to the county to tell the county that they added 3 more bedrooms to their house and more square footage. So can't get a loan from a Zestimate. The only way to know what your home value is worth is to get an appraisal. Zillow also cannot see inside your house. They don't know if you updated the countertops. They don't know that you painted the whole thing. They don't know you put a new roof on. They have no idea you added a basement and remodeled the whole thing. They have no idea that you completely updated and renovated your entire house. So bottom line is Zillow cannot see in your house. A lot of times this is very misleading if you purchased a property and you've done nothing to it. And now you're looking at your Zestimate and going, wow, look at how much my house is worth. When in actual fact is, when your house has not been updated and nothing has been done to it, it's a very dated home, and your house is not going to sell for as much as the homes are selling for that are updated and in better condition than yours. So bottom line is, I wouldn't trust your Zestimate very much for value. At the end of the day, price is all based off of location, style, condition of the home, improvements and upgrades that have been made, and if it's desirable. Is it on trend? Is it what buyers want? What does the interior of your home look like? This is a big deal to buyers. If your house isn't Pinterest perfect, they're gone. They watch too much HGTV. They're looking at too much Instagram. They're looking at everybody's perfect homes all day long. So you really have to ask yourself, especially if you've dropped the price several times, is it the price or is it the condition of your property? Think of it this way. The MLS is like Tinder for your home, and your photos matter. If people swiping on Tinder are willing to make a decision off of somebody they want to have a relationship with based on the first photo that they see, you are well right that they are making a decision based off the first photo that they see in the MLS. So you cannot use cell phone photos and shitty marketing anymore to get your home sold.
All right, so this is the part of the video where I really want to dive into what's happening locally in the Utah market here. So I want to give you really an overview, because if you're buying a home for the right reasons, you're going to understand appreciation. And if you're buying something that you're going to hold on to for 5 years, possibly 10 years, you're going to be in great shape. So if we look back to July 2006, now keep in mind, this is the Utah MLS. This is not the Park City MLS. Unfortunately, we just don't have like a data platform like this on the Park City MLS. So some of these numbers might not be incredibly inaccurate, because the Utah MLS caters to basically the entire state, and Park City and St. George actually have their own separate MLS. So the more relevant numbers will be on that Park City MLS, which we'll dive into in a minute. However, I just want to give you an overview of appreciation. So if we look back, this is Summit County. These are single family homes. This is not condo. This is not land. So if we look back to July 2006, before the great big housing bubble that everyone's freaked out about, we're headed into a recession, which really we need to understand what a housing bubble actually is and what the definition of that is, and why there was a recession and a crash in 2008. And it was because of reckless lending, and we don't have reckless lending today. So even though we are headed for a recession, it's different times, it's different circumstances, it's a different type of recession. Then if we look back to June 6th, look at that median sold price, $562. I mean, unbeatable, right? And if you held on to that property for 10 years, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and we go up, we're a little screwed right there, because that is where the recession happened. However, if we don't sell during that recession and we keep going, we buy something in 2011 for $410. We go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We go to 2016, we're already up at 960. Look at all that equity you got. So as you can see, the market increases, it decreases, it shifts, it changes with whatever is going on in our economics, in our history, and in our world. So if we look historically back at, you bought something in 2006 and you're still holding on to it today, June of 2022, our median sales price was $1.650. I would say that your purchase, whenever you bought a house, as long as you're not forced to sell for less than you paid for your home, you're in good shape. If we look back to January 22, look at where it was back in January, 1.7. If we look all the way back to April of 2022, when the pandemic happened, we were at 2.3 million. So I really wanted to show you this slide to give you an idea of appreciation, if you understand appreciation, and if you're smart, like Warren Buffett, he is a genius at buying and holding. He doesn't sell, he holds on to things, and he buys when things are low. So I would like to take you to the Park City MLS now. And we're gonna really look at some trends that are happening over the last week. So if we look at the last week, in 1 week, we have had 171 new listings back on the market. So 15 have fallen out of contract. And look at this, we've had 83 price reductions, which is absolutely crazy. I wanna grab something so I can highlight this stuff for you. 83 price reductions right there. So I really want to make sure that those are actually price reduces and not price increases, right? So let's take a look. Put your money where your mouth is. Price reduced. Price reduced, price reduced, price reduced, price reduced, price reduced. Look at all these price reduces, okay? 83 in the last week. So what are we noticing here? We're noticing a trend. Remember, the high interest rates are just not driving buyers to want to purchase anything right now. So if you're a cash buyer and you're sitting on cash, maybe you're waiting for the market to drop even more. So maybe buyers are just waiting to see what's happening, why, and that could be why your home is actually sitting on the market. I would also like to go to year over year. So let's look at things, how they've changed. So we do not have quarter two stats yet. However, I just wanted to check this out because it's important to look at. And if you know what I've been saying this whole entire video, real estate markets are local. And everything that happens is very specific to a local market. And Park City is very segmented. So if we go up here and we look at everything, we've got everything broken down from Camas to Heber to Jordanelle. These are all our major areas, right? But then we also have things broken down in neighborhoods. So if we cruise up here, we've got what's happening actually in Jordanelle Park, Deer Mountain, Toohey, South Jordanelle, Mayflower. Now, I'm not going to go over these all individually about what's going on because there's just honestly too many neighborhoods to handle. So if you own property in this neighborhood or you're looking for something in this neighborhood, then you need to reach out to me for a more personalized report. And I can give you a video report on it and give you my thoughts and tell you what's going on. However, I just really want to give you a big overview of the areas. So if we look really at the big overview of single family, our average price is 4.2. We don't really want to look at average price because there might have been some crazy big sale that drove the average up. So we really want to look at the median. We were at $3.5 million in Park City. That's the 84060. Snyderville Basin, we were at 2 million. So we still had a 35% increase for the year. So this is year to date. Okay, Heber Valley, we had Jordanelle, which is 2.5. Heber Valley is 975. Camas Valley is 992. Wanship and Hoytsville, 705. And the total for all of these areas combined, about 1.6 million. So for the total market, we're up about 17%. Now, is that sustainable? I really don't think so. And that is why they have raised interest rates. And so we're not going to see the market crash, but we're going to see appreciation slow. So it doesn't mean that your house is going to be worth 17% more than it was next year. It might be 3%. It might be 5%. We just have to wait and see. Now, I really like to take a look at condos. So condos also, we've got 1.3 in the Park City area, 850 in Snyderville, Jordanelle. You can kind of go down and read all of these prices for yourself. And again, this varies depending on the neighborhood. Park City has a lot of neighborhoods. Empire Pass is way different than Lower Deer Valley and way different than Old Town and way different than a Snow King condo at Park City Base or something that's at Park City Mountain Base. These are all very different. Powderwood, Canyon Creek is very different than Fox Point, is very different than the canyons, any product at the canyons. So everything is micro marketed and it's very segmented. So if you own a condo or a single family home in one of these neighborhoods, you need to get the neighborhood report, the lowdown. So if we kind of cruise over here to see what's happening with land, you will also notice okay, so for Park City, you're at $2.1 million. Snyderville, you're at $910. This is for land. Jordanelle, you're at $699.40. This is the median price. We always want to be looking at median price. Camas, you're at $350. Wanship, Hoytsville, $160. So, if we're adding everything together, you're about $650. So now I'd really like to go into what happened last month, right? During the month of May. And some of these numbers are trash, some of them are accurate because if you only had one sale in one neighborhood, then you can't really use that as a baseline. So if we look at the year of 2021, single family, these are 10 areas selected. So we've got Heber, Jordanelle, Camas, Morgan, Park City limits. I do not care about Wasatch County and beyond or the Wasatch Front. These are the only areas that I care about. So our median price was up about 26.1%. It was about 1.5 million for all of the areas, okay? So now I really like to come down to this slide because these are the awesome slides. So 51 areas, right? We are micro segmented. So I really want to let's dive into Old Town. Let's see what's happening in Old Town. So you're at 3.260 for a median price. There are 4 units sold. So, I mean, not a huge pool. You're about 1,300 per square foot. And look at the price percentage received. That was back in May. If we go over to let's look at Canyons Village, and this is for single family, friends. 24 million. Why is that so crazy? Because 2 units were sold and we just had that big crazy sale, the billionaire that bought the house in the Colony for 39.6 million. So that's why this is so skewed. So let's really look at kind of condo townhome in Canyons Village. I want to know what's happening. All right, so condo townhome, you're about $2.3 million for a median price. Units sold were 8, 2 days on the market. You're about $1,124 price per square foot. There were 5 new listings and people are getting about 100.6% ask. So still high demand in the Canyons Village for a condo or townhome. Now, if we look at kind of the multi-unit, these are like the hotel condos, you're about 1.167 median sales price, about $1,000 per square foot, not quite 100% of purchase price asked, but not too far off. Now, a lot of things that can affect your price point is you might look at this median price, but if you have a really dated condo or a condo that's in a building that people don't want, or the furniture is not great, or it's not updated, or it's a location that people don't want, the condition, the market, the financing, these are all things that could affect what your property could actually sell for. So these are things that are happening. And again, I'm not going to go through every single neighborhood because we have over 50 neighborhoods and that would just take way too long. But if we look kind of what's going out at Kimball Junction, I really want to know what's happening in single family. Let's clear it all real quick. Actually, I want to know what's happening in Park Meadows. We're going to check out Park Meadows. So 3 units sold, again, not a huge pool, 20 days on the market. That's getting up there. There's 10 properties in Park Meadows currently, so it's getting a little bit more competitive. Again, you're over $1,000 per square foot, and we're not quite getting full asking price in this area. So now you can see we've done several different areas, how freaking different they are. Price point, what they're getting, price per square foot, how many days on the market. Let's look at Jeremy Ranch. Jeremy Ranch will be fun. All right, so for Jeremy Ranch, you're looking at 2.625. Only 2 units were sold, so that's not really a great price point. However, look, the 2 units that sold, they were not full ask. And there's 7 new listings, 53 days on the market. So as you can see, something crazy is happening out over there. If we go to Midway, let's see what's happening in Midway. 8 units sold, 1.355. You're about $392 per square foot, 23 new listings, again, not getting full percentage of asking price. So we're getting a little bit more competition. Now you can see how crazy different the areas are of Park City and how micro segmented our market is. Now this will kind of give you a bigger overview. So May of 2022, the Park City limits, you're looking at about probably 12 or 13 neighborhoods combined in here. Your median sales price was $4 million, 19 days on the market. We got 43 new listings. You're about $11.77 per square foot. So we're up 84.6% in new listings for Park City limits. And now let's take a look at what's happening at Snyderville Basin. Remember, this is all single family. You're about $2 million out here. This is the 84098. 21 units were sold. We're down actually 12%. Active inventory, we got 105 new more listings, 4 days on the market. So things are going pretty fast out here. Still back in May, $618 per square foot. Now let's look at what's happening at the Jordanelle. So you're about 2.445 million, 7 units sold, 14 days on the market. There's more inventory. You're about $562 per square foot out here. Now let's look at a condo or a townhouse in Jordanelle. 1.2 million, 35 more new listings, 8 days on the market, 13 units sold. I would actually really like to see what's happening at the Park City limits with this as well. So 1.6 for a condo townhome. 9 units sold, 5 days on the market. So really, I mean, it's not selling in 4 hours, it's taking a few days to sell. Your house really isn't going to sell in 4 hours anymore. It might take 4 weeks for it to sell, as long as it's priced right and it's not an aspirational price and it's in good condition, it's a good location, it's what buyers want, and it's desirable. I feel like a broken record sharing that, but at the end of the day, like it really has to be something phenomenally special and out of this world to sell probably in the blink of an eye. It really has, it has to be something that is just absolutely phenomenally, just incredibly desirable. Otherwise, it might just be sitting for a little while because, again, like I've explained, buyers are just a little concerned about what's happening in the economy. They're concerned about interest rates. However, if you're a buyer and you're locking in something for 5% and then interest rates go to 8% at the end of the year, you're going to be very grateful that you got that 5% interest rate. And if you buy something and interest rates go down to 3%, you can always refinance. But remember, cash is king. Park City does about 60% cash deals. So cash is still always a winner here.